What's tonight, folks? If this team get beat, we in the final four.
He's a poor man LeBron, bro, when it comes to trades. It's like, you guys look at, KD, what you go
down 3 games, it's a quick sweep.
Not cap if you want to. Cap if you want to.
You know what's in me.
When I said that they let James Harden do the same thing and let Kevin Durant do the same thing, and they're essentially letting James Harden do the same thing again.
It'll cause a quick freeze.
I said Kevin Durant should have took a 50-50 blame, and Westbrook should have took a 50-50 blame too.
MJ fade away with the eyes closed.
Bucks motherfucking down. Did my soundboard go off? I'm gonna fuck my computer up, man. Oh, there we go. I gotta do it.
This bitch like Snoop Dogg.
Hold on. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yeah. What's good,
Why is my mic being something different? Might be fans. I'm sorry, but Bucks motherfucking down. We back on this beautiful ass Monday, as I like to call it. Got the boys in the building with an old face. Mel back. What's up, Mel?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me back, Troy. I thought you forgot about me for a minute.
Yeah, I did for a minute, man. It's been a hard year for me, so but I'm back on top of my shit now. So it's going to be a lot more hit ups from Troy over here, trying to get some familiar faces, some new faces over here on the podcast. We're doing something today that we used to do a little while ago, especially last year off season. We used to do NBA game breakdowns, so we're gonna dedicate this episode to a game breakdown. That's exactly why I hit Mel up, because Mel is the guy to go to for the historic, old games. So today we're doing the breakdown, as you can see from the title, the 2000 Lakers versus Trailblazers Game 7 to move on to go play the Pacers in the finals. It was a decent game. I just got finished rewatching it. I got my notes. I hope these guys got their notes. Mel, you looking forward to breaking this game down?
Yeah, I mean, this series, in all be all, was the start of the dynasty. I mean, there's a lot of, before this series, we didn't know if the Shaq-Kobe dynamic was going to work. They've had a couple of missed opportunities in the late 90s, running into those Utah teams and those Houston teams. So this is kind of like their first kind of crack to see if this Phil Jackson led team could do what Jerry West thought this team could do. So this was kind of the start of the era. Obviously, this was the first full year after the lockout year in 1999. So obviously this was a turning point in the franchise that we thought that we can see from the Lakers, and the first start of their eventual three-peat, and hasn't been a three-peat since.
So, Moo, going into this, this series, did you see it as a 7-gamer?
No, honestly. Even though you look at the roster of the Blazers and the Lakers, and you can clearly see that it's heavily on one side. Going into the game, it's like, yeah, obviously you would assume that the two perennial stars that are up and coming in this league, and Shaq and Kobe, would, I guess, run away with the series. But when you add the expertise of Scottie Pippen, and you have Rasheed Wallace, and this is a young Rasheed Wallace at that. And I think a lot of people, when you talk about Rasheed Wallace, a lot of people bring up his Piston days, but you completely gloss over and forget his Blazer days, where bro was a legit bucket. Like I'm not talking about where he had to step into more of a role, but when he was looked at as that guy in Portland. So you add that with a lot of the other pieces that they had. Like this Blazer team fought, bro. Like they showed a lot of heart. They showed a lot of skill. They showed a lot of fight in a lot of places that you may not have seen different or other rosters do. So I think that's ultimately the reason why, in my opinion, why it went 7 games. I definitely didn't see it happen, but after the third game, for me, I was like, yeah, no, this is going to be a different series.
Boo-wop, but besides the main stars, Kobe, Shaq, Rasheed Wallace, and who else would you guys say on the Trailblazers? Scottie Pippen?
Yeah, I think Arvinas Sabonis. He was the key. Devil Shrimp and Bonte Wallace off the bench. I think those were key guys too as well. So
that's what I was going to ask you, Boo-wop. Who do you think was the key guy behind the main guys? Who were you looking for to really step up in this matchup in that role player position to give either team an edge?
Like I would say guys like Bonzi Wells for sure. But I think, in my opinion, like I thought that was going to be a tough series for the Lakers, honestly, because at that time the Lakers weren't proven. Like obviously they do got the stars, Kobe and Shaq, and if you want to say that they should have been the favorites, that's fine with me. But I still thought Portland was going to give them a tough fight. They had everything basically to beat the Lakers, in my opinion. Like they really did. They had the low post presence, and then when you think about a Stoudemire, a Scottie Pippen, like, and I forget who was the two.
Steve Smith.
Steve Smith.
Stephen Smith.
That backcourt was like you could argue might have been better than what the Lakers did at that time. So I thought personally what Game 7 was to me should have almost killed the whole Shaq, Kerry, Kobe narrative a long time ago, because that was really Kobe's coming out party. Shaq was not aggressive in that game. 9 field goal attempts. That's not dominant. It's just the reality. It's just not dominant. But that don't tell the whole story of Shaq, of course, right? We know like players have bad games. My point is Kobe Bryant should have got acknowledged for that game that he carried the Lakers down the stretch.
So a guy like Sabonis, right? We know at the end of the game he fouls out, but we know pretty much going through the first 3 quarters, Shaq didn't score a bucket. He made some free throws. He actually shot well from the free throw line in this game. Mel, do you think Sabonis having him at the end of that game would have kind of helped the Trailblazers?
I mean, I wouldn't say it wouldn't have hurt them, but I just think the way the Lakers were playing, because they had a stretch forward, Robert Horry. I don't know if Rasheed Wallace is going to go all the way out there to guard him too as well. So they probably maybe would have switched on him. But I mean, it would have helped, but I don't think it would have changed what would happen at the end of the game though. That's all I'm saying. I think he's a very underrated player because a lot of people they saw what he did in the NBA, but because he was a lot older and his knees were banged up. But when he was in Europe, he was that guy. So I think a lot of people don't give Arvydas Sabonis credit because they only see him what he did in the States, but not overseas. But I just think the way that his body was and the way how Shaq was, he can only do so much. But the fact that he played the way he did, I think gave the Lakers a lot of problems. But at the end of the day, I think the reason why it happened is because of what Shaq was able to do at the end.
Mulich, one guy you expected more from out of his game. Mulich? Oh, you muted. You didn't unmute yourself. He's thinking. Give him a second.
No, and it's kind of a loaded question because I'm not gonna lie, I expected a lot more from a lot of different people, and I know the obvious answer. A lot of people was gonna say Shaq, but I'm not gonna lie. I feel like you could have got a lot more from. See, this is hard because, like I said, the obvious answer is Shaquille O'Neal, right? Because you look at Shaquille O'Neal, you look at the dominant figure that he was at the time, and you obviously expect him to be more dominant than he obviously was, right? But this is, I guess I'm gonna go AC Green. But if I'm going to the Lakers part, but if I'm going Blazers, although Stoudemire started off pretty solid in the first few quarters, or really in the first quarter, I'm not gonna lie to you. He started off with some pretty open shots, some pretty smart shots, but really after that, it was really quiet from there. And like what I said earlier, with the backcourt strength that they had, you would expect him to have just a more, I guess, I don't want to say a higher scoring game, but just a more progressive game, to where he was a little bit more effective. And I get it, right? 5 points don't jump off the screen and stuff like that. But just looking at him in the space and looking at him in the offensive sets, there were times where it's like I felt like he was kind of disengaged. I felt like he was trying to more get his shot than focus on setting up or running the offense. It was kind of touch and go. Like I just felt like he started off kind of locked in, and then as the game kind of progressed, the Lakers hit a few big shots. And the announcer actually brought it up. He was like, they're gonna need Shaq to come into this game, but the announcer was like, well, not really, because the Lakers are like they've scored 3 baskets in a row and he hasn't touched the rock yet. So it's like obviously what they're doing is working, but it's like after those first few shots, it's like something, I don't know, it's like he fell out of focus or something like that, because it didn't look as sharp as when like the first few minutes of possession. Like I'm looking at him, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, Stoudemire getting after it, and then I'm like, wait a minute, something happened. What happened? But that's just for me. AC Green, I feel like he just gave a little more effort. I feel like he was just kind of floating around instead of being more involved or trying to be more involved in plays. But I would have loved to see a more locked in Stoudemire. I think if he is a little more locked in, I'm not saying that changes the outlook of the game, but I think it probably helps him a little bit more.
So Boo, I'm gonna ask you the opposite side of that question. Who didn't you expect that much out of that gave you something a little bit more than what you expected? And I worded it way. Sorry.
My
And
bad.
then he went into the dark.
My bad. For me, I would probably say somebody like Ron Harper. Being the OG, I think he had Ron had like a solid game. If I'm not, he might have had like 10 points. Wasn't major, but he, just the vet, poised. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of what I remember from him. I haven't watched that game in a while, but I do remember
9-4-2.
Very okay. Might have had a couple of assists or something. Ron always just been Ron. Like I would say Ron Harper for me, because I'm not sure if he was getting a whole lot of tick before that game 7. So can't remember the series type, but I'm always keen to go with the veterans.
I mean, the thing with what you guys said about like AC Green and Ron Hopper, I mean, they were just starters by reputation. Brian Shaw and Robert Horry were playing starter minutes, so they were just there for like the first couple of minutes and then going in. So we really weren't really expecting a lot from those two guys in particular, especially with Brian Shaw and Derek Fisher in the backcourt. And then also you had Robert Horry coming off the bench too as well. So they were mostly playing like starter minutes just off the bench too as well. So needless to say, whatever effort you got for them was great, but we weren't really expecting a lot for them moving forward. So we know they were kind of like one year guys. So
that's true. I just think the name of those two might carry that weight, and you hear the name and you see that they're starting in a big game, and obviously a lot of people we're expecting them to be or give us a lot more effort or be those kind of players. But like you said, like we're just there because of the name instead of actually being there to more so help the team, like the young guys that they had coming behind them.
So at the beginning of the game, they announced that Scottie Pippen was dealing with some injuries. He was hurt all over somewhere.
Oh,
So, and I would like all you guys' opinion. Do you think this is a game at where Scotty is in his career that we can hold it against him?
He did the same thing in Chicago and the same thing in Houston too. So this is nothing new that we've heard before.
And then it's just like I don't. When you're a role player, to me anyway, I don't really have no real like, oh, that was one of those games. I already know you not gonna say today. You a role player. I already know this. I don't have no expectations for role players to say today's. I'm for real. So if they did, kudos. But I already know, like going into a game 7, Scottie Pippen is not the guy you look at to be like, he's going to rise. No, he's going to be a role player. If the best player not playing well, he's not playing well. Trust me.
I mean, but technically wasn't the best player playing well?
Exactly. That lets you further know he's a role player. Because sometimes role players still have bad games, even when the star players are playing well. He's a role player. Rasheed
Well,
Wallace had a great game for the most part, like scoring wise.
Scoring wise, yeah, most definitely.
He wasn't too dominant on the rebounds, but whatever.
only 4.
But yeah, but
Jermaine O'Neal was on the team too. He got about 6 minutes, and I was gonna say, do you guys think in any way they could have utilized him a little bit more?
I just think for where they were at when it's like a winner take all game, I think you pretty much have your rotation set. You kind of know what sets you're gonna run, what plays you're gonna run, how you're gonna defend the opposing team. And I just think the way Jermaine O'Neal plays, it would have been a bad matchup because if you put him on Robert Horry, he's going to take him out to the 3-point line and kind of go past him. You put him on Shaq, he's going to get in foul trouble. And they also had Brian Grant too as well. So you had essentially 12 fouls to use on Shaq. So, I mean, I just don't think Jermaine O'Neal was in the right place to kind of do anything more than kind of like give those starters a rest and kind of come in for a couple minutes and kind of sub back out.
He was never.
This is an early Jermaine O'Neal. This isn't like a more polished kind of more built Jermaine O'Neal, right? We got to think about when Jermaine O'Neal came into the league, just the body type that he had. Yes, he was more of a bigger stature, but he didn't really have that true NBA body yet. So putting him out there and I guess using him in specific spots of the game, I don't like Mel said, I don't like that matchup. Like a young kid just kind of trying to get his feet wet in the league. And you kind of throw him out there with bodies like that, and the thing about it is him, the type of pick that he was, and the type of player that he was coming out or coming into the league. A lot of people would have expected, or they would have put that narrative on him, would have expected him to be a lot better than maybe where he was at. And I don't like it. I don't think, for one, that's not fair to him, and two, I just don't think it was a situation that caused for him to be needed in a much higher role.
Exactly. That's you just hit the points I was going to make. I mean, at the end of the day, we all know that the game is situational. Like you get drafted to a place where, especially at that time, Portland and they minds felt like they had a championship caliber type roster or whatever. You're not going to play a young guy like that. It's a reason why he blossomed in Indiana. It's a reason, like the opportunity was there. The opportunity just simply wasn't there. He was just too raw of a talent. And at that time in the NBA, they're not just throwing high school players out there. They just simply weren't doing that. Like that's what kids of today don't realize when they look at a guy like Kobe or Kevin Garnett, and they paved the way for players today to come into the league and start because they had to earn it. They had to get it out the mud. They had to really. That's the reality. Like so. Jermaine O'Neal just wasn't going to be he was just like kind of a non-factor in that series. It's just what it was.
Yeah, and I think when you have Mike Dunleavy and his veteran coaching staff, you know how he's had teams in the past who's done well too as well. So he's not going to try to put his guys in a bad spot where they're out there to kind of like not going to be effective and just, they're going to play backup minutes. They're going to give their starters a rest and play maybe 8, 10, 12 minutes a game, if that. They might get a couple shots, a couple boards, but essentially they're there to back up the starters and make sure that, they can give their starters a rest and kind of prolong a little bit, because the rotations were a lot different nowadays. Wasn't the small ball era. You weren't having 6'5" centers. You were having 7-foot centers there. So it was just a different way they played. It's more defensive focus too as well. A lot more pick and rolls, and the way that Jermaine O'Neal was when he came out, it just wouldn't have been a good fit for him moving forward. But like Buwap said, he got his opportunity in Indiana, a team that kind of was in the transition era after Reggie Miller and all them kind of left over, and then no expectations. He was able to blossom, become an all-star, be the Jermaine O'Neal we thought we would be. But, back then they gave their players time as well too. They're not just throwing them out there from day one. It's like, hey, you're going to start. I expect you to do this and do that. You got to take time to blossom. He learned that was a very veteran utilized team with Scottie Pippen and Arvidas and Rasheed, too, Damon Stoudemire, Steve Smith. So kind of took him under the wing, let him know that, when your number's called, you got to come up and step up. And just unfortunately, it just wasn't that time for him in the series, particularly.
So I think I heard correctly, but I could be mistaken. I believe the announcer said that Robert Horry shot a 3 early in the first quarter, and I could swear the announcer said he was 0 for 15 at that point of that 3. All right, that's what he said. He was 0 on 15, I guess, in the series. But then he did hit some key 3-pointers down the line. With a guy like Robert Horry, right? Big shot Bob. A lot of guys like to use this guy in arguments. Do you feel that Robert Horry, with the struggling of Shaq, right, not scoring a basket in 3 quarters, do you think Robert Horry gave you enough, or he could have gave you a little bit more?
I mean, I think he did what he was supposed to do. He played starters minutes. He was there for his 3-point shot, his defensive effort too as well. Kept the teams off balance. But obviously, if he could do it all over again, I'm sure he wouldn't shoot 1 for 4 from 3-point line, because we know how accurate and how good he is. But the thing with Robert Horry is when he makes them when he's supposed to make them. He might not make all of them, but when you need a clutch basket, he gives that to you. So I'd rather have him on my team than face off against him. That's for sure.
Anybody else?
Yeah. I feel like I kind of got the same sentiments. When it comes to Robert, when he's on, and it's amazing. But when he's off, it definitely gets kind of frustrating. I definitely understand it. Especially when you look at it and look at the defensive player that he was at the time. And if he's not kind of giving you one on one side, then you're expecting a really heavy outlet on the other side. But I think, much like Mills, I think he did what he was supposed to do. I understand the rough shooting part. He 1 for 4 is still, not sufficient enough. But I mean, coming in, playing starters minutes, he had 12 off the bench. I can't really say that I'm like expecting him to have like a 15, 16, almost 20-point game. Like, he's obviously been having a rough shooting series, so I'm not going to expect him to out of nowhere at a game 7 rekindle his fire. Obviously, there's something going on there to where he has to tighten up on. But I mean, I think 12 is kind of right up his alley for where Robert was at the time.
He shot 57.1%, 4 for 7 from the field. Who have anything to add?
Man, you know me, bro. Like, I don't have no quarrels with role players. I don't have no other expectations. He had 12 points, I think, right? 12, 7, something like that. 12 and 7 off the bench. If I'm not mistaken, he played the whole 4th quarter too.
12-7.
Yeah, man. Listen, great game by Robert Horry to me, man. Like, he did exactly what I expected. He might have overachieved. I'm gonna be honest with you. He might have overachieved for me. Like, yeah, because I don't expect much from role players for real. Like, he's one of the more notable role players, obviously, because everywhere he's been went, he don't want a ring type deal, right?
He done hit a big shot.
Yeah, and he done made big plays for sure for all those things.
One in this game.
He was very good for Houston. Like he had a very good series against, I believe, Orlando. I think he had Yeah, I think he averaged like 17 and 10, like 3 blocks. It was crazy. Like he had a great series. But he is one of the more notable role players. But to me, like again, like just role players in general, obviously he's no Kevin McHale. Like Kevin McHale to me is a role player. Star role player, if you want to call him one, whatever. Scottie Pippen, star role player, whatever you want to call them. They're role
So,
players.
so Bua, where would you fit Steve Smith? Because Steve Smith, 7 for 17, 41.2% from the field.
To me, that was
Steve finished with 18.
it wasn't a great
rebounds,
game.
2 assists, a block.
It barely was a good game, but it was a to me a expected game. That's a tough game. Kobe guarding you, like I think they had Ron on him a little bit. Like I mean, whatever, man. It's a tough game.
He went 3 from 4 from the 3-point line.
Steve Smith is a role player. Like
yeah, but when we're looking at Steve Smith and what he did in this game, and Robert Horry and what he did in this game, and a guy like Scottie Pippen and what Scottie did in this game, how do we decipher between the three?
They all did their jobs for the most part. All of them are role players. Scottie, like unless you think he's a star and he should have played better, then I don't know. Like to me, he gave you 12 points. I think like 8 or 9 rebounds. He was guarding Kobe Bryant.
Scottie got 10 rebounds.
Right. So that's what I mean. What did he give you on the points?
12 and 10. 2 steals,
right.
3 assists.
He guarding Kobe Bryant. Like I think he did okay.
33% from the
I don't know. What was he? 33? He's like 33, 34 years old, bro. Like I don't know what you want from him.
I think it's more for the team dynamic too as well. Steve
I'm just
Smith needed to carry more of the weight than a Robert Horry would with Shaq and Kobe.
That's what I was looking for. Oh, that's what I was looking for. Mm-hmm. So let's dissect a couple of players. I got that was 2 of them that I had here. But let's jump into the rest of them. Then we can kind of jump into quarter by quarter breakdown and then rebounds, assists, and that good old stuff. So we kind of talked about Shaq, right? Shaq, 5 for 9, 55.6%. He did hit, I think, what was it? Where's Shaq at? Shaq free throws, 8 for 12. 8 for 12
I know he made all. I think he was like 3 for 3 in the fourth quarter. He was 3 for 3 in the fourth quarter, though.
I can check that for you because I have everything right in front of me. Fourth quarter, Shaq would be 3 for 4. 3 for 4 free throws in the fourth quarter. So when we looking at Shaq's performance in the game, I think we all can agree.
No, I said he went 100% from the field in the fourth quarter.
Oh, from the field, I was talking about free throws. But from the field, Shaq, yes, 3 for 3.
I know. Yeah. I think him and Kobe both had like 9 or some shit like that in the fourth.
So when we're looking at Shaq's performance, I'm not going to ask, does this hurt the team? Because obviously Shaq was the biggest, I guess you could say, letdown of from this game. Do you guys think in a regular scenario, the Lakers pull it, and I know this is not a regular scenario, it's the playoffs, it's game 7, right? The intensity is high. Did you guys think, with seeing how this game started, Shaq not scoring a basket in the first 3 quarters, did you see the Lakers being able to come back down 15 and pulling this game out?
I think just the way the game was, I think if the Lakers are getting a striking distance, then Shaq and Kobe can take them home. But I think it was up to the role players. If you remember Brian Shaw, he played a huge pivotal, start to that initial comeback, being down 15 in the fourth quarter. So he played a very key role in that. He had some timely threes. The Shaw to Shaq redemption lobs, kind of helped that too as well. But I think their role players kind of had to get them back to where they were can again the striking distance in order for Shaq and Kobe to kind of take over. You talk about the Glenn Rices, the Rick Fox, the Derek Fishers. I think those guys, had not they done what they did, we would have looked, and if they would have lost, we would have been kind of killing Shaq, and that would have been a very big dent in his legacy moving forward too. Especially him coming off losses in the finals to Akeem. So I mean, that would have been a very big factor in kind of how his story kind of would have played out eventually too.
Buwap. This question is for you, and then Mel and Mulit, you guys can add to after Buwap. So Kobe 9 for 19, right? 47.4%. I wouldn't say that's all that great shooting. I know he was taking some tough shots trying to get. I'm not saying I didn't say anything. Say not all that great. I see a lot of X's on my paper here, Buwap, so you can look all you want. I got the goddamn game shot chart right here. All right, a lot of X's on that paper. All right, it's 10 of them.
Hey,
right?
you know how math works though, right?
Yeah. So missing 10 is greater out of that.
Right, hypothetically, right? He makes one more shot, right?
That's fine. So Kobe's performance, right? Now, like you said earlier, this is Kobe's coming out party. I do think Kobe is the main factor to this win. Him pushing his team through those slumps of the Blazers running wild on them, because they was giving him the whole Kogan. They were. How vital do you think Kobe using his other players like Shaw and Harper helped him open up the floor a little bit for himself, with Shaq not being able to do what he was doing? If that makes sense.
Well, the reality is it's the triangle, right? I always say this about the triangle offense. The triangle offense is beneficial not to the.
You said beneficial not to what?
The role players get to be involved, right? It's a lot of actions. It's a lot going on, right? I think the triangle makes role players substantially better. Is my point. So when I look at what Kobe is able to do, it's because of his ability as a basketball player, him being able to play off the ball, and be able to obviously play on the ball, but he's able to play off the ball as well. He's able to be a decoy off the ball. He's able to do other things and be a threat off the ball. So that's why the triangle works that much more. Because obviously, if you have a dominant post player like Kobe became, and like Shaq was, and like Jordan was, it's easy to dominate. Even a guy like Pau Gasol, that's what made it so special, because he's a talented guy in the triangle. So like when I look at what Kobe was able to do at that young age, like, not to even bring up the age thing, because age really don't matter. You're in the NBA, so. But Kobe still, to me, showed, and that's why I get so tight with these Kobe conversations, because like it's like people act like it never happened, like they wasn't there. Like you just said, 47%. Like, that's not a great shooting. Like, what is it then?
It is. I just wanted to fuck with you a little bit.
I'm just saying. Like, what is?
No, I said it is. I just wanted to fuck with you a little bit. You hear me? Now I gotta fuck with you a little bit. He said, well, you showed me your AirPod dying. AirPod dying, bro. It's fucking boo-wop, bro. Let boo-wop and be back. All right, so Mel and Moo, right? So when we look at the chart, right? When we look at the shot charts, the who out rebound, who did anything, I'm gonna break it down, and you tell me by this, do you think the Lakers should have won this game? Trailblazers 8 for 15 from 3-pointers, 53.3%. We got the Lakers going 7 for 19 at 36.8%. We got biggest lead, Trailblazers 16. We got ties, 6 ties and 7 lead changes. All right. Now, when we look at the chart, right, points, we know game finish 84-98. Lakers out rebound 41-33, more assists 25-15, more blocks 6-3. They had more turnovers, 3 more turnovers, and then they only shot better from the field at 49.2%. where the Trailblazers shot 41.6. On the other end, the Trailblazers won the steals battles, the three-point battles, the free throw battles, the points in the paint 28-18, the fast break points 10-6, right? With the Lakers taking the second chance points 9-2. We got some score leaders, rebounds, Kobe 11, Pippen had 10, Kobe 25 points, Rasheed 30, Kobe with 4 blocks, Rasheed with 1, which was a surprising stat to me. And then we know Kobe had 7 assists with Stoudemire having 3. So when we look at the points in the paint, fast break points, the Lakers did out rebound them. They did get more assists. Do you think those factors, right, the rebounds, the assists, contribute to the poor shooting and them getting out? I lost my train of thought.
Man, they got outplayed down in the fourth. That's essentially what happened. I mean, the star players showed up, bro. That's usually what happens in these type of games. It always typically boils down, like, not to take nothing away from the role players. The role players did do their part. They kept us within striking distance. I mean, us, the Lakers, within striking distance. And Kobe and Shaq essentially just took over down the stretch like stars do. Again, you get 18 points from your 2 stars in the fourth quarter. Shaq came up clutch, 3 for 3, 3 for 4 from the free throw lines. As we all know, like, Achilles heel for Shaq, but he was clutch. So, but again, what I'm saying is always will be for Kobe. Like, this was a game that, to me, he just showed that he really liked that. And he had been showing that. Like, it shouldn't even took this game. Like, that whole playoff run, he was showing up, period. Now, obviously, in the finals, it was something different. Like, he got hurt. But I think that gets downplayed tremendously.
It's a what have you done for me lately league. That's what it's all about. Those numbers that you read off, there weren't much of a difference. I mean, with the steals and the fast break points, it wasn't. I mean, I wouldn't expect the Lakers to have more fast break points than the Blazers because that wasn't their style. They were a half court team running with a triangle, and that kind of basketball doesn't operate with Phil Jackson. I mean, he's never had great fast break teams. That's just not how his team is constructed. So it's not surprising that happens. And with the blocks, a lot of people weren't going in the paint when Shaq was in there too as well because he was so agile too as well, and he's mostly helping off the ball, probably affecting shots. I'd rather have an effective shot than a block shot. So, I mean, those numbers didn't really jump off the charts for me, but it's kind of what have you done for me lately? Whose stars were going to carry you home at the end of the game with 5 minutes left? What were your star players going to do at that time? And the Lakers did that.
Surely did. Anything to add, Moo?
I think looking at this game, based off your question, I think looking at this game at the point in time where it was, you can definitively say that Portland might have had it in the bag. But I think where ultimately the game changed, because I'm looking not just at the shot chart, but just the whole chart of the game after watching the game. It was not just, a superhero or Herculean plays by the Lakers. It was just, and I think this is the reason why, Troy, I think this is the reason why you brought up rebounding, is because that literally helped them win the game. Just looking at it, missed shot, right? Defensive rebound by B. Shaw, shooting fouls by B. Wells, right? Kobe Bryant misses a free throw, boom, offensive rebound. Kobe Bryant makes another free, and that's the trend going like really the whole fourth, right? Somebody misses a big shot, boom, offensive rebound. Somebody comes down, they miss a shot, another offensive or defensive rebound, they get the ball back, second chance points. A lot of the story, I guess, of the fourth quarter, or really just the fourth quarter, is second chance points. And when you look at it at about 7 minutes, 6 seconds to go, Shaq gets a rebound. Brian Shaw misses a 3-point shot. Robert Horry gets an offensive rebound and then goes on to make another shot to bring it within 5. Right now, after that, that's really the outlook of the game, right? Because Portland realizes that the Lakers are climbing and they're getting closer, and the shots that Portland is taking, they're not necessarily, I guess, efficient or smart shot, and the Lakers are keen on that, and they're crashing the board something crazy. And even though you have players on the Lakers side, Shaq, Kobe, Robert Horry, AC Green missing shots, they understand that them killing the boards, them crashing the boards is what's going to bring them back into the game. So like them allowing their stars, allowing their guards like a Kobe, like a Shaq to get those second chance points, and even a Robert Horry, even like Rick Fox, Brian Shaw, all of these players, right, getting these second chance points, that's bringing them back into the game. Not to mention on the other side, Portland is missing their second chance opportunities. Scottie Pippen grabbing boards, Sabonis grabbing boards, Rasheed Wallace grabbing boards, Steve Smith grabbing boards, Stoudemire grabbing boards, and they're missing their second chance points and their second chance opportunities at the same time while the Lakers are capitalizing on theirs. So, like, to me, the outlook of that whole fourth quarter is second chance points and rebounds. And I think that's the main reason why you brought that up, is because the Lakers realize, like, if we can capitalize on their mistakes, on their missed shots, that's what's going to bring us back into this game. Not all this crazy three-point shooting, not we're going to go ahead and just kill at the three-point line and we're going to live. Nah, they said, no, we're going to kill the boards and we're going to go to the basket. We're going to get our fouls. We're going to take our shots when they come. But at the same time, like, this is what's going to bring us back into this game.
And that was the problem with the Blazers overall in this series, though. They were playing, instead of playing to win, they were playing not to lose. There's no way in a situation like this where you blow a 16-point lead. I know things happen and things have to go the right way, but the way they were playing in that fourth quarter, they were playing very past. They're playing the shot clock. They're playing the clock game.
Yeah, they played very safe, especially towards the end.
They play safe, and look, I don't know how many times I'm gonna keep uttering this. I might keep doing it because, again, this is Kobe Bryant coming out party, man. Like, I'm the man led the team, points, rebounds, block, assists. He was like that. You like that, bro?
I just checked if any messages was there, and it wasn't on my screen. So fuck you, man.
Yeah. What's good?
That was a good point by the other male.
The other male is crazy.
The other Melvin is crazy, bro. Male 1, male 2, they back, baby.
Oh man, yep.
But no, man, like, to me, bro, like, again, it came down to the stars, bro. Like, that's typically what game sevens come down to, bro. Like, people could point at game 7 for Kobe against Boston. To me, he did what stars do. Yeah, he struggled, but he woke up. He woke up in that fourth, led the team in scoring. If I'm not mistaken, maybe Powell led in rebounds. I think Powell might have had one more rebound, but I know Kobe had 15 of them. He did what he had to do.
That's what stars do. If they can't be effective in one way, they're going to be effective in other ways too as well. And just like Bullock said, this kind of coming out party, this game 7, that game 4 gets Indiana in overtime. That was the
stamp on it.
That was the stamp on it. That was the candle right there, man. Just what he did in overtime, telling Shaq, "Hey, calm down, I got this." Like, that was the icing on the cake right there for him. And we knew that he had that Jordan in him. So, like, that's what that was.
Let's switch gears a little bit because we talked a lot about the Lakers and the win. So let's go to why do we think the Trailblazers lost this game? You got Rasheed, 13 for 26, 50% from the field. You know, Scottie Pippen, 3 for 10, you know, but he gives you 12. I got to throw a shot at Scottie. What do you guys think, like, besides the playing it safe in the fourth quarter, like, even early in the game when they had a 15-point lead, when they was up 12, you know, because they had a couple of runs on the Lakers. Lakers made a couple of runs too, and I'll get to that in my breakdowns analogy. But what do you guys think the Trailblazers' problem was? Because it wasn't that they couldn't score; they were scoring the whole game. Did something change in that fourth quarter where that you guys seen where it was just like, all right, now these guys can't go out there and get key buckets when they were getting key buckets every time the Lakers went on the run?
Kobe guarding Damon Stoudemire full court. That took them out there. That took them out of their offense. When Scottie Pippen not be able to bring the ball up, it was all on Stoudemire's hands. it affected them. When you're going against an all NBA defender full court, that's gonna take you out of your offense. It's gonna take you out of your rhythm, and the fact that no supporting cast in that game whatsoever. Like Devil Shrimp didn't really do much. Bonzi Wells had an off game. Damon Stoudemire didn't really play well. I think Kobe guarding him full court took him out of their rhythm and eventually kind of led to their downfall.
Mooch.
I'm gonna say it's crazy because, like you said, when you asked earlier, like why or would you think that they would lose this game? It's like nah, but and outside of what happened in the fourth, right? Obviously, you can get better play from Stoudemire. Obviously, you can get better play, or I guess you can try to. I guess I don't really like space out the minutes between with Sabonis. I guess to try to extend his gameplay, but I mean, if you're looking at the game, I guess there's really nothing that you can really point at as far as the game goes, as far or why they lost, other than really after around the 10-minute mark in the fourth. I'm not even gonna lie, like there was a point in time where, like Mel said, where Kobe is guarding Stoudemire full court, but he starts to change it up. He starts to guard the guy with essentially the hot hand, right? And it wasn't until after the block, before Portland called a really big timeout that they needed. And Scotty comes out and misses a 3-pointer. Then they come out and bang a 2, and they cut the lead to 10. It wasn't really until that point to where I feel like Portland started to panic, right? And not necessarily panic as if like, oh, well, we got to start doing something, but they started to panic as if like, okay, well, we got to do something to more close out this game or tie up this game. And I think that's where the whole plan is safe and trying to take shots that were unwarranted, other than just playing within the game and playing how they played throughout the whole game in the first 3 quarters. But it's hard to really point out any other aspects of why they lost the game, because they played a really solid game up until that point, really in the fourth, right? It wasn't until the defense on the Lakers side kind of really started to turn up. Kobe with some really good blocks. They had some really good steals late in the game that caused the Lakers to really kind of just stay in the fight. And with a team like that, you gotta, I guess, kind of close it out. But if you're looking to, I guess, place the blame on somebody or ask somebody to do more, I guess you can look towards Stoudemire or you can look towards other players. But down the stretch, you're really looking for your stars to pull you together. And not saying that Rasheed Wallace or anybody else didn't step up to the plate. It's just I feel like the Lakers knew and understood what they had to do to turn around the game, and they capitalized on it. And Portland, I think they tried to pick up on it, but it was too late. You see around the 3 to 4 minute mark in the fourth quarter, they start to pick up on that tempo change. But at that point in time, it's a little too late. The Lakers already had the momentum back.
Yeah, I think one thing that's kind of missed in this whole series, that obviously the Lakers had the best record in the league that year, but Portland only won one game at home. You can't not hold home court when you have a 67-win team in the 1 seed right there. Portland blew them out in game 2, had an opportunity to go up 2-1 with game 3 at home, and they lost. And lost game 4 too as well. You can't win one home game and expect to beat a team of this magnitude in a 7-game series. That's inexcusable. Just can't happen. That's
a very big factor.
All right, so Troy going to go on a little soliloquy, but I'm going to start with stats, right, by quarter. So I picked out three from each team. So Trailblazers, we go Pippen, Rasheed, Steve Smith, and then I got Shaq, Brian, and then Robert Horry. First quarter, Scotty starts off nice, 9 points and a steal. We got Rasheed with 6 points and a rebound, and Steve Smith gives him 5 points in that first quarter. First quarter, we know Shaq had 2 points from free throws. Kobe gave you 3. Harper gave you 4. And Rice gave you 3. Second quarter, Pippen gave you 0, which I was kind of shocked to see. Wallace gave you 7. Steve Smith gave you 1 point. Shaq gave you 7 in the second quarter. Kobe gave you 9. You got 2 from Robert Horry. So the first half, Scotty finished with 9, Wallace with 13, Steve Smith with 6. We got Shaq with 9, Kobe with 12, Robert Horry with 4. Going into the third quarter, we want to see a little bit more from the guys. Scottie Pippen gives us 3 points, Rasheed Wallace gives us 10, and Steve Smith gives us 10. In the third, we get 0 from Shaq, 4 from Kobe, and 2 from Horry. But we got 4 from Harper, and then Brian Shaw gave you the 3, and Rice gave him 5. Now, in the fourth quarter, we know that's where the money is. We got 0 from Pippen. Not a surprise here, guys. Welcome back, Bua. Rasheed gave us 7 in the fourth. Steve Smith gave us 2, and Stoudemire gave you 2. Whereas Shaq gave you 9, Kobe gave you 9, and Robert Horry gave you 6. Second half, it's 3 for Pippen, 17 from Wallace, 12 from Steve Smith. You got 9 from Shaq, 13 from Kobe, and 8 from Horry. Now, we all know Pippen finished with 12. Wallace finished with 30. Steve Smith, 18. 18 for Shaq, 25 for Kobe, and 12 for Robert Horry. With honorable mentions, Robert Short finished with 11 with 3 threes, and Glenn Rice finished with 11 also with 2 threes. All right. So, y'all ready for the full breakdown? This is where we kind of get into quarter by quarter, the last little segment of it. I'm going to go first because I got my notes. So I do normally do quarters. I asked myself some questions in the beginning. I took a note that, like I said earlier, Scottie Pippen was, as I said, hurt. I asked myself, who am I watching in this game? So I'm going to be watching one key player from each team. Is going to be Kobe and Rasheed for me. I think the guys would agree there. What is the key to the game? Key to the game while I'm watching the announcers talk was defense. And I think Kobe really came out and showed that. So as the quarter starts, I do notice Shaq and Kobe not making no points. It was 6.5 minutes left in the first. Still no points from Shaq. I think besides the free throws, maybe, if I'm not mistaken. Kobe was really playing really good defense, is what I like to see. The tenacity Kobe was giving us on defense in the first quarter, being in passing lanes, playing his man close. I really liked his movement, even in the picks. If you watch him, he finds his man after he's picked. So that was a really key to me. Pointed out that. So going into the second quarter, because we know the first quarter was kind of slow, Trailblazers got out to a lead. Lakers did struggle, especially when you have your 2 key players not playing well in the first quarter. Second quarter, Lakers had 3 turnovers in the first, which led to some, scoring by the Trailblazers. So I definitely wanted to see them fix it. I took a note of that. I also took a note, just so you guys know, Troy watches the games and he pays attention. There was a point in time early in the third, Fisher ended up on the floor. I think, Mel, you know what I'm talking about. Fisher ended up on the floor, and which left Rasheed Wallace open for an open 3. I think that was a key basket. Good make by Rasheed. With 6.5 left, Shaq still hasn't scored a basket, which, that's not what you expect from your big man. Shaq also had 3 fouls with 6 left in the third. He finally made his first basket. He finally made his first basket after that in the second. Not in the third. You're supposed to say the second. Rice hit a big 3 with 5:30 left in the second to put the Lakers down by 3. Right? Because I think they were down 10 or something like that. After that, Robert Horry misses 2 big 3-point shots that I think kind of would have gave the Lakers some momentum if he hit them. Blazers then took a 7-point lead with 2:30 left. Lakers then got it back down to 3. And then we see that nasty dunk. So you guys don't think I'm paying attention. That nasty dunk by Kobe Bean Bryant at the end of the second. That shit was nasty. All right. We finished 42-39 at the half. Pippen with 9. I read all that, so I'll skip that. In the third, 16-7 run from the Lakers. When Ron shot the open shot, Harper makes a big shot in key moment for the Lakers. Kobe is trying to make something happen with the help from his others, meaning, Brian Shaw, Ron Harper. But Shaq is really hurting them at this point in the third. I really felt like Shaq would. I know the outcome, right? We know the outcome of this, but if I'm watching it and when I'm watching, I'm going in and like I don't know the outcome. And at this point, I would have thought that Shaq lost them the game just by the way he was playing. Kobe didn't miss 2 big free throws in that third quarter. I think he should have made them. The Lakers took the lead with 6:22 left in the third or 6:23, something like that. Blazers then go on an 11-2 run with 2 minutes left in the third, and they go up 15. I did mention that a little earlier. With 2 minutes left, still no points from Shaq in the third because he didn't score no points in the third. But the fourth quarter is when things got really interesting. Lakers get it down to 10 after being down 15 with 9:36 left in the fourth. Horry hits a big 3 with 6 minutes left in the fourth. And the fourth. What the fuck? In the fourth, Lakers go on a 10-0 run. Blazers missed 12 straight before Rasheed Wallace makes the shot. Shaw's 3 was big in the fourth. With 3 minutes left, they were tied at 75-75, and I think that was a really key moment in the game because it, like you guys mentioned earlier, is where you got to see whose stars were going to step up, rise to the occasion. Shaq steps up in the fourth. This is when Shaq starts going a little crazy, getting those 9 points. And then I think it was a period where Wallace had 2 free throws that he missed, and I think the Lakers was up 1 or maybe down 1, something like that. Really big free throws there that I think could have helped them a little bit down the stretch there. And then with 41 seconds left, the iconic Kobe to Shaq alley-oop was sick as hell. Got to point that out. Big 3 by Wallace with 34 seconds left to give the Blazers some hope. And then Pippen goes and fouls out. My overall, breakdown of this game is I do think the Trailblazers could have won it. I do think they shot themselves in the foot with a couple of the choice shots. I do think the Lakers and Kobe did take some choice shots too. I think they could have took some better shots. But I think it ultimately came down to, for me, it came down to the Blazers falling apart there in the end, not doing the things that got them the leads and allowing the Lakers to get back into the game. That is my breakdown of Lakers Game 7. Mel, I'm going to kick it to you.
I think with this game, I'm not surprised by the slow starts. Phil Jackson's teams always start off slow. We've seen it in Chicago. We've seen it with the Lakers. This team's always start off slow. This is not a first quarter, really not really a first half team. They kind of they kind of see how the game kind of goes and they kind of feel their way to see how everything works out. But I mean, the Lakers wanted it more. They knew it was on the line. They kind of knew, had this not gone their way, we don't know what the Western Conference would have looked like. We don't know if the Indiana series or that Portland series, how that would have looked how that would have looked moving forward. But I think the Lakers baited the Blazers into playing their game. I think Portland fell into the Lakers trap and ended up costing during the game. And I just think with how everything played out, there's no way the Lakers should have been able to come back from that type of deficit in the fourth quarter and even have a shot to winning, let alone, kind of having that exclamation point on that game. But the Blazers played to the Lakers' hands, and the Lakers took advantage of it. And that's why there was the start of a dynasty and a start of a three-peat. And we're wondering what if moving forward with Portland and with Utah and with Sacramento at that time and San Antonio, what if? What could have happened moving forward if the Lakers did not win that series?
Moo?
Watching this game, I thought I was going to go into it watching the stars, Shaq, Kobe, Rasheed, et cetera, but about a quarter of the way through, I started to realize that I'm more watching turning points. Missed free throws, big shots, turnovers, effort plays, right? The hustle plays, right? The certain rebounds that people don't chase down to get, the certain loose balls, right? The the offensive fouls, the defensive fouls, right? The mistakes, right? Because there was a point in time in the game where Shaq had a really bad turnover due to a travel, and I ain't gonna lie, I thought they were cooked at that point. I was like, yeah, no, they're cooked. They are absolutely cooked at this point. But as the game progresses, you start to see different turning points in different moments, right? So like I said, like I pointed out earlier at the 10-minute mark where Kobe gets that big block on somebody not named Stoudemire, right? Because he started off the game with a really big block on Stoudemire, but then later on down the line, you see the defense that Kobe was playing all game start to really come into fruition and really come full circle, right? So he gets that big block, and I think with that and the emergence of Shaquille O'Neal finally starting to get going and score, those were the big turning points of the game, right? And Robert Horry did a really solid job. Like we said earlier, you can't really expect too much from Robert Horry outside of what he did, but we are known to, or he's known to hit big shots in big moments. And the rebound that he grabbed in the fourth and then turn around to hit a really big 24-foot shot, what more can you ask for, right? But that's Big Shot Bob turning the game and controlling the momentum of the game. And I think after the Blazers tied it up one last time, 79-79 with about a minute and 50 to go, I think at that point in time, the Lakers smell blood in the water, and they understand what they had to do. With, of course, as Troy pointed out, the big alley-oop between Shaq and Kobe. But prior to that, I think you see the panic of the Trailblazers kind of really start to set in at a deeper level, start to reach for more, they start to foul more. And outside of what happened earlier on in the game, the Lakers started to hit more free throws. They started to get more consistent at the free throw line. So turning points, turning moments of the game was what I really focused on here, or what I started to really focus on here as I'm watching it. And the big moments, momentums, the plays that people don't really focus on is what really kind of won the Lakers the game, especially in the fourth quarter. The effort plays, like I said earlier, and like I said, a lot of people don't focus on that, right? They focused on the points. They see Rasheed Wallace scoring, 30. They see all these other guys, they dropping their respective points, but it's like the hustle plays that people don't necessarily see that I think the Lakers really capitalized on and took the time to really focus in on. I think that's what won them the game.
Boo up. Being in the dark. What might be in the dark? He in the dark. I'm just gonna say he dropped out and got his GED. I don't have any more questions. I don't know if you guys got something else you want to point out about the game. Any final comments on it? Besides fuck Robert Horry and fuck Scottie Pippen?
I mean, it's a tale. It's a tale of two teams.
I was just looking at.
You see how looking
at the safe and out.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Robert Horry.
I mean, it's the tale of two teams. We saw, one direction. We saw two directions for two different teams. You see a Portland team that had a lot of good players, a great balance of players with young and old, and then you kind of saw the Lakers. They were kind of in a win now situation. Their roster that they had in 2000 wasn't the same one they had in 2001. So they had some of their core players, but some of their other players were kind of out. Ron Harper was gone. AC Green was gone. Glenn Rice was gone. So this was kind of like a last hurrah for some of those guys. And this was MVP Shaq. MVP, regular season MVP, All-Star game MVP, Finals MVP Shaq. As Kobe Bryant said, the best in the world. Started off a three-peat. Haven't seen one since. Don't know if we'll see one now, since with how the current NBA is nowadays. But without this, we wouldn't have got Shaq and Kobe, who arguably, their resume speaks for himself. 4 finals appearances, 3 finals wins. Who knows what could have happened if they would have stayed together? But this is arguably probably one of the best duels in NBA history.
Yeah. Anything else, Moo? That's it. Boo-Wop is in purgatory. I don't know where he went. That's it from you, Moo?
Yeah, no, I mean that's it, bro. I mean, it was a really solid series, really solid game. I'm not gonna, put too much into it. I love these breakdowns. Definitely looking forward to the next one we do. Yeah, man. Shoot, let's keep going. Let's keep cooking.
I miss this. I miss that old NBA. I love seeing games in the where the scores like 80s and the 90s, not this 120 and
Defensive,
140 stuff.
steals, blocks,
I love
turnovers.
the fundamentals of the game. Yeah, I mean, I just love that current NBA. When nowadays it's kind of like you got 5 shooting threes and like teams shooting 40, 50 threes a game. It was more fundamentally based. Mid-range was key during this time, so it was just very essential. And I think that's what NBA when they're in the glory days too. So
yeah, I want to say I know you can't expect too much from role players like Boo-Wop said, but we do make fans out there, does make some guys, higher than what they are. We are keen to have some people in the past to do that here. I know you just heard me mention the Safe and Out. If you guys don't remember Safe and Out, Mel, I don't know if you remember it. It is the From the Sideline Hall of Fame, which we are going to get back into doing. And we did do Robert Horry, and there was 3 names on there that tried to say he was in the Hall of Fame. He was safe, and we wasn't having it. So he did get voted out. He is not in From the Sideline Hall of Fame. Now, Scottie Pippen, his name, I think it's in there too, but he might be safe because, he played with Michael. But with those 2 players in these moments, I know people are going to probably say, Scottie was old, Scottie was injured, Robert is Robert, whatever is whatever. But it's moments like this where you can say, hey, that guy was a good role player. Hey, he did make some shots, but he wasn't what fans make them out to be. There's no such thing as prime Danny Green. And I'm out.